Welcome in, everyone, to another edition of the Pacelli Coaches Show live from the Beck Center. And this time, Coach Grider is having Coach Tim Gillespie, the offensive coordinator and guru of the Pacelli Vikings, step in today. Coach Gillespie, thank you so much for joining us here, man.
Oh, glad to be here.
All right, Coach. First things first, man. We were just talking off air. We kind of got your background when we did Media Day, but how has the first year been here in Pacelli, learning the GIAA, getting your offense and system with all the guys and making sure they understand what you expect from them? How has it been here in year one?
Well, it's been great. You know, it was obviously a change for the kids when we first started from what they've been doing in the past, and not good or bad, but a change. Getting a little bit used to the GIAA versus the Alabama High School Athletic Association. But, you know, the people here have just kind of enveloped us, and it's been such an encompassing feeling of, you know, hey, Pacelli's a family, and we're all in this thing together. So I've really enjoyed it this first year.
Well, it's looking like the offense is getting better and better each week. So let's start. Obviously, the regular season came to an end. You finished 5-5, and then you win last week against Loganville. I want to talk about first the progression of Dustin Sherman. We talked about it last week with Smitty Grutter, but you are the guy that's really been hands-on with him. And the guy's playing his best football. Your offense is playing its most consistent all year, and you won 4 of your last 5 games. What can you say about the offensive side of the ball and kind of finding your identity here the last couple of weeks of the season?
Well, you know, there's a lot of things that kind of go into that offense being, you know, a measurable product.
Yeah.
You know, we went through some injuries early in the year. You know, we had, you know, JD had pulled a hamstring one of the games, and, you know, had Cam gone through some injuries. So we were kind of shuffling people around at the same time that we were trying to learn how to mesh this offense with the kids. So once we got everybody healthy and then we began to kind of understand some of the expectations and how the offense worked, I think that had a lot to do with gelling it. And, you know, Dustin coming into a quarterback into a system that was, you know, a little different from what he had even experienced, even as a backup in the past, you know, it takes a little time. And now he's a lot closer to being a second-year quarterback. He's really got a season under his belt now.
Right.
So the kids have learned him. He's learned the kids. You know, he's learned a little bit more about protections, a little bit more how to read defenses. So a lot of those things with a quarterback just takes time, and I think that his evolution is been one that he has now gotten to where he feels a little more comfortable.
Now your team defensively was lights out again against Loganville. How do you feel you're part of this coaching staff? It just week in and week out to get better and playing your best football right now. I know you got to feel good as a coach staff heading in to this Brookstone game this week.
I really do. You know, our defense has been playing extremely well. You know, Coach Daniels and that group have done just a fantastic job. You know, it seems like when we get over the last few weeks, we get over to the film. After we come off offense, we go to the TV, and before you know it, we're hearing, hey, 3rd and 10, punt return alert. So they're getting off the field. They're flying around the football, and I think they have a lot of the same things going on too. You know, but those guys have been playing lights out and really enabled us to kind of begin to gel a little bit while the defense kind of held us in check and helped us out.
34-7. What was your final thoughts and observation, and what was the team's the coach staff's message to the team after the big win over Loganville, 34-7?
Well, you know, I've been with Coach Grider for quite a few years, and the message is kind of the same. You know, this team, it has a life of its own, and every week that you win, you're preparing to extend the life of that team one more game. So we knew Loganville was very explosive. They had really good athletes. They had a good record. You know, they had played some really good people. So we knew coming in that we had to play very well. And of course, the defense played lights out.
No doubt.
You know, which made it a lot easier for us. And we were able to have a balanced attack. You know, I think we had a 240 plus yards rushing and 170 passing. So I really think that has enabled us to be better offensively as people are not able to just stack the box and say, we're going to force Dustin to beat us. I think he's shown he can do that now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And again, the Vikings got a big win, 6-5. We're going to take a break. When we come back from break, we're going to talk with Coach Tim Gillespie, the offensive coordinator, about preparation this week. You got a rivalry. You got a chance to go to the semifinals. I mean, what more can you play for? This is why we do it. It's Brookstone week here, quarterfinals, Pacelli Coach Show on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
For the big, for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists. For long distance love. For the farsighted, nearsighted. For introverts and extroverts. For the thinkers and the doers. For old friends. Coca-Cola. For everyone.
Glenn Smith Truck Month is here. Get massive savings on GMC Sierras and Canyons. Check them out. Full-size GMC Sierras up to $14,500 off. GMC Canyons up to $5,000 off. Or take advantage of 0% financing plus no payments until next year at Glenn Smith GMC Opelika. Now in our 33rd year. Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone. Thrift Behringer here. Coach Tim Gillespie, offensive coordinator, sitting in for Smitty Grider. It's playoffs. It's quarterfinals. Coach Gillespie, what is the preparation this week for the players not to lose their mind, knowing that it's the rival? You haven't beat them in 3 tries, knowing that it's just another typical game, and if we win this, we're in the semifinals, regardless of who you're playing.
Well, I think early in my career, when I got to preparing for the playoffs, I always thought you had to do something special. You know, you had to add all these different things. When I think in reality, what you've got to do is do the same things better that got you here. You know, our game last year, or this year, last time we played them was very close. They got a great football team there. You know, from my standpoint, they're great on defense. You know, they're going to run multiple coverages. They know when to blitz the quarterback. So I think it's a matter of yes, it's a big rivalry, but to kind of keep that emotion into using it in energy to get us to do the things we do and do it better. Because it's going to be, the atmosphere is going to take care of itself. The energy is going to be, you're not going to have to bring your own energy. It's going to be there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So what are some of the things you want to improve on from the last time you played them? 5-point loss, came down to the wire. What do you want to make sure that that doesn't happen again this time?
Well, you know, I think last time, you know, excuse me, we were not very effective at throwing the football. We've got to be able to be a little bit more balanced. And a little bit less predictable than we were last time. Because like I said, they do a very good job. They do a great job reading the plays, diagnosing what's going on. So, you know, we've got to be more efficient in the way that we use our technique in each play. You know, it's not the magic plays, it's the way you execute those plays. But we've got to be able to push the ball down the field some effectively and incorporate the passing game on first down and other situations where, you know, we're not quite as predictable maybe as we were at that time.
All right, so now is there any, like during the week, is anything changing in terms of when you go from preparation for practice or whatever it may be? We saw yesterday we were up here doing Basketball Media Day. You'll have your normal practice time and meeting time. So how is that going to look this week with it being playoffs and stuff?
Well, I think that, you know, the kids understand, and normally when you get into the playoffs and you get into the, you know, at this point I would consider you're at a deep run. You're at least, you know, you're working to 50% of the total playoffs. So, you know, I think the more that you change things, sometimes the more that the kids maybe feel the extra pressure. So I think the things that got you here, the practice routine that got you here, the things that you've been doing, I don't think you change those a lot. And I feel like that's what Coach Grider's philosophy is as well, as long as I've been with him, that we have to keep doing the same things that we're doing so that we're better at those things. You start trying to do a lot of things different, you may not can do those things well in just 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, message right now, Coach Gillespie, to the entire Pacelli community, how they need to come out and support to Brookstone, Max Strong Stadium, and cheer on your Vikings as you take on a huge matchup for the quarterfinals against your rival Brookstone.
It's going to be a great game. The atmosphere is going to be great. You know, Pacelli family, you know, bring everybody out, get there early, be loud. The kids love the energy from the fans. And so I think that 12th man from the fans, when we come on the field, during the game, I think that atmosphere adds to the great thing. So we need the whole Pacelli family out and screaming their lungs out, and let's make it a party.
His name is Tim Gillespie. He's the offensive coordinator here with Smitty Grata and the Pacelli Vikings. They take on the Cougars this Friday night, 7:30. You can watch it on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time right on the Pacelli Coach Show, Georgia Alabama Sports Live.